Hello and welcome to Coachmas Day 6. I am going to be using ChatGPT over the course of the next 5 days to absolutely transform my life and my business. This was actually a viewer request that I received back in April. So Esme, if you're watching this, thank you so much. Follow along over the course of the next 5 days as I use ChatGPT to prevent me from spending thousands of dollars on a coach. Shout out to the channel VIP members before we get started, as well as Suzanne, Tom, Harrison, and Zurify in the billionaire tier. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy. Now let's go ahead and jump right into day one. Today is day one of using ChatGPT as my life/business coach. So we're gonna start by just typing in a few prompts, making sure that the AI understands who I am, what my business is, and then we're gonna, set some goals for the week and go from there. So for context, I'm actually doing this using the free version of ChatGPT. I don't have a paid subscription. Okay, and I'm actually just gonna start by asking ChatGPT to explain to me what I do to make sure that it understands what my business is. Now I'm gonna ask it if it knows anything about my personal life, just because I think if I'm gonna use it to coach me, it kind of needs a little bit of context around what I do outside of my job. This is funny because a few months ago, I actually asked ChatGPT to write me a workout plan, like a workout split. And so it's actually pulling that up here. It didn't actually have any context around the dogs or my partner. So I might add that in just because I think that adds a very important piece to what my day-to-day schedule looks like. But other than that, it's pretty accurate. So just giving it that little bit of context. And now we're gonna get into getting it to be my coach. So next I'm saying that in light of all this context, I was hoping that you could be my life/business coach for the next 5 days. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Super cool. I'll have the responses up on the screen here, but basically it's saying, I'd love to support you over the next 5 days to make sure we can do this. Let's set some clear goals and create actionable steps. So they gave me a breakdown of day one where we're gonna define our goals and priorities. So that's today. And then day 2 and 4, we're gonna work on the execution of those goals. I'm not really sure how realistic that is, because typically if you were working with a coach, you would have probably, a longer term, 6 weeks, a couple months kind of strategy. But anyway, I digress. And then day 5, we're gonna do our reflection. So I do like this because the AI is prompting me to set one goal for my personal life and then one goal for my business. And it even offered a few suggestions. So that's super helpful. Let's do some thinking about what those goals are going to be. And I know I shared this on my Instagram story a couple of weeks ago, but one of my goals before the end of the year is to really get back into my regular fitness routine. And then in my business, obviously executing the 12 Days of Coachmas is a huge piece of that, but also finding new clients for the new year. So I'm interested to see how the AI takes those things and gives me a plan of attack. So I'm gonna go ahead and type that in, and then we'll get back to whatever comes next. Okay, so I have given the AI my goals for my personal life, which again is to go to the gym 3 times a week, sleep 7 hours per night. I also gave it my daily schedule so that it could help me figure out, like what time I need to go to bed and wake up. And then also in terms of my business, I just mentioned that the 12 Days of Coachmas needs to get done. I have some deliverables for a few brand deals that I'm working on before the end of the year. And then I also want to stay consistent with my own posting strategy for Instagram and TikTok, as well as close another client for January. So I basically asked ChatGPT to help me create a schedule that's going to help me stick to those goals, as well as tips for strategizing in order to be able to execute successfully. So let's see what it comes up with. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the schedule it's giving me, just because it has me working till like 6:30 p.m. Like, when am I gonna eat dinner? So I'm gonna tweak this a little bit and then we'll get into it a little bit more. Okay, so I gave it a little bit more context, asked specifically for a chart format of a schedule, like Monday through Friday. I use Google Calendar to plan out my days, but it's actually nice to have this do it for me and give me an idea of maybe things I could move around or how I could more effectively use my time. So definitely recommend trying this out. Now that I'm thinking about this, like, I don't really know if this is the best use or if I would necessarily call this coaching. So I might need to adjust some of my prompts and maybe just get it to give me things that I could like journal about. I don't really know if I'm doing this correctly. So it's asking me if this structure feels achievable and aligned. So I'm going to say yes. Now help me with some coaching prompts so that I can stay motivated in the execution. Awesome. And so it's actually generating questions that I can ask myself during the morning, midday, and the evening. And then it's also giving me prompts to wrap up the end of the week. So I really like this. Maybe what I'm gonna do is take these prompts, I will work on actually journaling about them throughout the day today, and then I'll come back tomorrow and kind of like give ChatGPT the update on how things went and see what it has for me to do tomorrow. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Good morning, although it's probably hardly morning, it's like 10:30. I have been busy. I got distracted. I'm not used to having a life coach that I have to check in with every day. I'm just sitting down at my desk. I'm going to run through the journal prompts for the morning, and then I'm going to check in with my bestie, ChatGPT, and see what they have to say today. I was chatting with a friend of mine earlier this morning, and she was telling me that she will use ChatGPT to like motivate her to go to the gym. So I was mentioning how like all I've gotten so far is like journal prompts. So I was thinking today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give ChatGPT my schedule. I'm going to outline some things that I feel like I've been struggling with or getting caught up in my business, and see how good it is at like either giving me advice or coaching me through that by like asking me questions to think about. So I will say the journal prompts, I journal every night before bed. That's nothing new, but doing the journal prompts in the morning and then like a midday check-in was kind of helpful for me because I always feel like I don't get enough done in a day, but having the opportunity to like sit down and actively think about like, what have I accomplished so far? Did I get done what I wanted to? Really helped me to put into perspective that I do more in a day than I think I do. So I will say that was helpful. I'm interested to see sort of what comes out of the session today. So let's get into it. I would say the main thing I have been struggling with, I'm always struggling with this, is constantly feeling like I am falling behind. I think I just shared this in the last clip, but I always feel like I don't get enough done in a day, and then I'm left with this to-do list that never ends. And so I'm gonna give ChatGPT my schedule for the day. I'm gonna let the AI know what I already did today, and then see if it can come up with like some kind of plan for me. So let's go ahead and do that first. I'm getting flashbacks to doing CBT with my therapist. Okay, so this is what ChatGPT is telling me. It says, wow, Danielle, you've already achieved so much this morning, and it's important to give yourself credit for that. Let's reframe your mindset so you can recognize the value of what you've done and embrace the sense of accomplishment you deserve. This is actually super interesting. I was having a conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that he implemented this time auditing system where basically for a week, he wrote down everything he did every single hour of the day, like the work day for a week, just to kind of see like where he was wasting time, what activities related to actually making money in his business. And I think that that's super interesting from the perspective of both like, am I actually wasting time, but also how much have I actually accomplished? Because I feel like it's so easy to forget all the things we do in a day that we feel like we didn't do anything. So I actually appreciate this reminder to maybe implement that into my day-to-day of like making a list of things I got done. You know what, I'm gonna start doing that today. I think sometimes we just get so caught up in our head. So this is actually a super helpful exercise for me. I'm having a good time, guys. I think this was enough. My focus for the rest of today is actually to work on scripting the rest of this series. So I believe this video is day 6. And so far I have finished scripting day 1, 2, and almost day 3. My plan for the end of this week is to have at least the first 7 days scripted, because day one will get posted next week, like a week from today, basically. I know last year there was a period near the end of Coachmas where I was feeling like I was scrambling, like I was scripting, recording, editing, and posting everything all within the same day, and it was just way too much. So my plan for this year is to try and be more proactive and ready. So I've actually finished all of my client deliverable work for the year. It's December 4th. So that leaves me no excuse but to use my time to focus on this series. So all that to say, I am going to ask ChatGPT strategies to help me stay focused in my goal of trying to script out the 12 days of Coachmas and get as much done this week as possible. Okay, so I gave that info to ChatGPT. Now it's giving me an hour by hour play-by-play of what I need to do, although I'm realizing that it has the incorrect days. So I think I never updated it on my final schedule for Coachmas, which is fine, not really a big deal. But it even included, I'll pop it up on the screen here, it included tips for like how to stay on track and ways that I can reward myself throughout the day, which is cool. I'm really liking this. This is helpful in terms of like holding me accountable. And I'm gonna do one more check-in, I think, at the end of the day to tell the AI what I actually got done. And then if I did the things I said I was gonna do, maybe it'll, congratulate me. And if I didn't, maybe it'll give me tips on how I can focus better tomorrow. Stay tuned for my check-in later today. Okay, quick update because it's now 1 p.m. and I didn't do anything that ChatGPT and I agreed I was gonna do. Instead, I got distracted by my LinkedIn profile and my UGC portfolio and all of these things that I shouldn't really be focusing on right this second, but for some reason I'm procrastinating. So anyways, I asked my pal here, ChatGPT, why am I like this? Why am I doing this? Please help me. And it gave me 3 reasons why I might be doing this and offered me some tips on how to reset, starting with forgiving myself. So I guess we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do the journal prompts that it gave me yesterday, and then I'm gonna try, it gave me a couple of tips to help avoid like getting derailed. So I'm gonna follow those and see if it helps me. So wish me luck. And for real, I'll be back at the end of the day to update you. Okay, checking in once again because I did actually manage to get more done than I thought I would. And I thought to myself, how can I help or get my business coach to help me maximize the productivity I've been experiencing? So I went on ChatGPT and I asked it to help me strategize how I am going to work on getting more clients for 2025 for UGC specifically, just because, as I mentioned in the earlier clips, I believe, I am all caught up on client deliverables for the rest of this year. So I figure the best use of part of my time, obviously I'll be working on Coachmas, but when I'm not doing that, I have an actual business to run. And I thought, why not focus on maximizing this opportunity to do outreach, to focus on building my portfolio and getting everything ready for 2025. I'm gonna focus now for the last hour or so of my day on these actionable steps that he's given me, he, it, she, whatever the AI is, and I will see you guys in the morning. Jump scare, hello and good morning. Welcome to day 3 of using AI as my life/business coach. I just got to my desk. I'm going to give my little bestie here an update on what I plan on working on today, and I will do my journal prompts and we'll get right into it. Okay, so it's giving me different check-in questions, which is great. I think we'll start with those and then I will reflect on my responses and write back to the AI to see what they recommend we focus on and do today. So stay tuned. Okay, so I took some time to actually journal out what the questions were, but I'm going to type the answers in just so that ChatGPT has a little bit more context and can hopefully give me some guidance in terms of where we're going to be focusing on today. So my big goal for today is to script one more day and then film the first 3 days of this series. Gonna let ChatGPT know all this info and see what they have to say. Pretty helpful. So the one thing I will say that I have appreciated about this entire experience is that I'm the type of person who, and I'm sure some of you can relate to this, but I like get stuff done and immediately it's like out of my brain. I don't think about it. I don't really celebrate accomplishments that I've made because I don't really perceive them as accomplishments. It's just kind of like, okay, what's next? So I actually really appreciate the like positive reinforcement that ChatGPT has been giving me. But beyond that, it's basically just saying like, let's prioritize our energy. I have a meeting with a recruiter for a potential contract coming up in January. And so it's telling me, spend 10 minutes preparing for that, outline different things from your portfolio that you want to highlight, just like helpful reminders that I think sometimes when we're trying to do everything on our own, we forget like the simple things. So super helpful. It even gives me like a little mindset shift that I can use for all the little manifestation girlies out there. ChatGPT's got you covered. So I think the next clip you will see of me will be after my interview with that recruiter, after I've done some filming, and we will reconnect. I'll do those journal prompts and then I'll check in with you guys to see how things are going. Okay, I'm back. It is 2:30 and I just finished filming 3 videos. Honestly, I wanted to quit after the second video, but I was like, we got to do this. So anyway, I haven't done the journal prompts, midday journal prompts yet, but I was going to check in with ChatGPT so that it could give me a little pat on the back for actually getting my work done. So I figured I would take you along for that journey. Let's do it. Let's talk to our guy, our girl, our computer robot thing. It's telling me to celebrate. So yay me for actually doing my work. It's recommending I do some light planning for tomorrow and then also focus on like low energy tasks to wrap up the day. The one thing I will say that it recommended me to do, which I don't know why I didn't already do this, is to go through my scripts for the remaining days of Coachmas and then tackle the one that seems easiest to do next. I've literally just been going in chronological order up until this point, but I think I'm a little bit ahead in terms of like what I need to film, when I'm going to need to film it by. So I think it's a really good idea to just go and look at what's going to be the easiest one to get done next. As an aside, that kind of got me thinking that like, while this has been pretty helpful so far for the first 3 days, obviously I'll have like more conclusions by the time I get to the end of the week. But one thing I do want to note so far is that one of the biggest downsides to like using this as like a business coach or a life coach is that it's not really super nuanced in the answers that it gives you. It doesn't really know you as an individual. And I think that working with a real coach, that's something that would definitely be beneficial, is that they can understand you as a particular individual. Like, yes, this advice might be helpful, but it's not necessarily tailored specific to me, but it is helpful. It has been a very helpful reminder to kind of like cheer me along throughout my day. So all in all, I'm not mad about it, and I am ready to get the next 2 hours of work done. I will do some journaling right now, get to work, and I probably won't see you again until tomorrow. Good morning. We are here. We are in it. Bubba's enjoying his breakfast. I am just getting ready to check in with my life coach and see how things are going. I was gonna say I texted. Last night before I went to bed, I asked ChatGPT, what should I reflect on? Please give me some journal prompts. And it gave me a few things to look at before I went to sleep last night. So I did that, and now I'm back and I'm ready. I will say that the one common theme, and I might have already shared this, I don't remember what I said 5 seconds ago. I constantly feel like I wasted my whole day, I didn't do anything, I'm not being productive. But then when I'm doing these prompts at the end of the day and I'm asked to reflect on how I feel about what I got done, I realize that I actually am doing myself favors. So anyway, it's been helpful. It's also been helpful for me to like stop procrastinating, because one thing about me is if I have a deadline that's not for like 2 weeks, I'm gonna wait those 2 weeks before I even start thinking about getting that work done. And I really just am trying to remember how stressed I was last year trying to get all these videos done. I just think if I can do myself a favor and try to get as far ahead as possible, it's gonna be super helpful. And using ChatGPT as like the accountability to actually do that has genuinely made a difference, because I think if I just left it to my own accord, I wouldn't have gotten as much done this week as I would have liked. So all that to say, do I think ChatGPT is a genuine coach? No, but I will say the accountability is pretty nice. So we're gonna check in, we're gonna see what they have to say today, and we'll go from there. How is your energy today? I actually feel pretty tired. You can probably tell by the way that I look. Are there any lingering thoughts from yesterday's reflection? I don't think so. I think I really just want to stay focused today. What are you proud of from yesterday? What's the top priority for today? I am very glad that I got a lot of filming done. I'm gonna ask how it would recommend I learn to prioritize tasks, because obviously I'm not going to use this every single day for the rest of my life. So I'll see if it has any useful tips and resources that I can implement in the long term. I will say one other thing that ChatGPT has been helpful at reminding me to do is intentionally take breaks, because I feel because I'm always in this cycle of feeling like I'm never getting enough work done, it has been really helpful to have this computer telling me, when you finish task A, give yourself a 10-minute break, make a coffee, go for a walk, whatever that is, because I am so guilty of quite literally sitting at my desk for 6 hours straight and feeling like I don't deserve a break. I can't take a break until I get all this work done. And it has been super helpful to allow myself that opportunity to take those 10 minutes and have the break. And honestly, I feel like it's made me more productive to give myself those 10 minutes than to try and force myself to work through a 6-hour period straight. So I'm going to stop yapping and I'm going to actually get some work done. And I will check in with you guys at the next reflection point. So stay tuned. Okay, I am feeling like Bubba. I just did my end of day reflections and I messaged my coach and I said that it's 4 p.m. I don't know where the time went. I only finished one video script. I posted to Instagram. I answered a ton of emails and I actually did spend 2 hours editing, which I completely forgot about. But I still have this feeling like I'm never doing enough. And so it's super frustrating to me because I feel like on days where I do get stuff done, I feel like I didn't do enough. And then days where I don't get stuff done, I still feel like I'm not doing enough. So obviously that's a recurring theme for me. Yes, I've been working through it with an actual therapist. I don't just use the internet to help me. But anyway, this exercise is really bringing up some stuff I need to work on. I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but a lot of the times I find myself where if I feel like I've spent the whole day at my desk and I didn't really get anything done, rather than just give up because it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever, I will just continue to sit here and continue to be unproductive and continue to waste time, because in my head it's I'm still in my office, therefore I must be being productive. It's better than sitting on the couch. But if I'm just gonna sit here and not really work anyway, what's the point? So I was having this internal debate with myself, and then I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go relax for a bit, and if I feel like working later, I can do that. I am gonna call it quits for today. For now, who knows? I'm addicted to working, so I'm sure I'll be back, but I will see you tomorrow for day 5, the final day, where we're gonna reflect on how drastically my life has changed now that I have my very own free life/business coach, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Hello. Forgive me for being super extra with the microphone. Also, we're trying our best here, okay? Welcome to day 5. It is now 11:30 in the morning. I have filmed a YouTube video so far today. Saturdays are a bit weird because we usually start the day by watching my friends' vlogs while we drink our coffee on the couch. So it's not really a traditional work day, so I don't really know how this is gonna flow into the video. Not really sure why I decided to use AI as my life coach when I'm not really even on a regular schedule in general. But anyway, I digress. We are here, day 5 of using ChatGPT as my life coach. I'm gonna do my morning, it's afternoon now, check in, see how things are going. And I think my intention for today, because it's not really a traditional work day, is to hopefully get some closing reflections, things that I can work towards after the fact, once our 5 days is up, which is today's the last day. I'm gonna give ChatGPT a little bit of an update of what I've gotten done this week and hopefully get some insight into some goals that I'm hoping to set between now and the end of, I was gonna say January. It is so loud in here, sorry, I have the window open. But yes, plan is to check in with my coach, let them know what I got done this week, let them know what tips they have for me, have them let me know what tips they have for me moving forward into next week, into the rest of Coachmas. Basically, it wants me to go over what I accomplished, what I thought went well, what challenges I face, and then what my plans are next. So I'm going to type all that out for it, and then we'll kind of see if it has any revolutionary advice or things for me to think about as I move into next week, which is like the thick of Coachmas and the end of the year. So pray for me. Okay, overall, super helpful, and I said this in the actual conversation with ChatGPT. Basically, I found it super helpful to have this like level of accountability where I actually have to think about what I got done in a week. Anyway, it's given me a really great breakdown, I'll pop it up on the screen here, of all of the things that it wants me to focus on as I work towards achieving the 3 goals that I've outlined for the rest of the month. And I will also add that this particular like setting of milestones is a really helpful, clear goal for me to kind of keep in the back of my mind, because I am really stressed about duplicating what happened last year where I'm like scrambling to get things done because editing takes so freaking long. So if I can actually follow this timeline of having these scripts done by the dates that are outlined, I think that that's going to help me a lot. Overall, feeling optimistic and very appreciative of these little mindset reminders that it is giving me, as cheesy as it is. I think it's helpful. And I'm excited to edit this video and reflect on my experience after rewatching the footage that I've recorded over the past 5 days. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Okay, so I have a few concluding thoughts as we come to the end of this video, as I've been sitting here for the last 8 hours editing this footage. And my biggest takeaway from this whole experience is that over the course of the last 5 days, using ChatGPT as my life/business coach, none of really what we did together would I consider to be true coaching. I mean, I feel like I alluded to this throughout the course of the video, but the real draw I would see to using a tool like this, and honestly, I will probably continue to use it on and off in the future, is the accountability piece. But even with the accountability that you get from telling ChatGPT what your goals are and having it break them down and ask you questions about how you feel about those goals, you still have to be proactive as the individual to ask ChatGPT to hold you accountable, or to continue to hold you accountable, or continue to ask questions about how you're feeling around those things. Whereas I think in a traditional coaching relationship, the onus would be more on the coach to serve as a motivator for you versus you having to find the motivation to go out there and ask ChatGPT to keep you motivated, if that makes sense. And maybe some of the coaches who watch my videos can actually chime in the comments and see if you get what I'm saying. Part of the problem just in general too with this specific video is that I picked the absolute most chaotic time of year for me in order to complete this challenge, because as I said on day 4 or 5, I believe, the week that I demonstrated in that video that I was using ChatGPT isn't even really like a regular work week for me, because my life is so consumed by scripting and filming and editing all these videos that you've been watching that it doesn't really truly reflect what a normal day in my life and business would be. So I'm actually curious, if you enjoyed this video, would you want to see me try it again in the new year during like a more regular week in my life? Let me know. Also, if anyone has any feedback on how I could improve my prompts or better use it in the role of a coach versus like an advice giver or just an accountability buddy, I would love to hear that feedback as well. I will also add, as was indicated to me in the email that suggested I do this video, I think that there is a certain level of like nuance and understanding that isn't exactly available when you're using an AI to do the coaching, because they don't really understand you. They haven't taken the time to get to know how you operate. And so a lot of the recommendations that you get when you ask it a question or ask for suggestions are more so just generic, could potentially work for anyone, versus customized to you and your specific scenario and the way that you as an individual operate. And I just think that a really good qualified coach would be able to pick up on what tools and techniques would work for you personally, versus just with an AI, I feel like it's more like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping that one of the strategies it gives you sticks. All in all, I do honestly think that this is a great tool, especially since I use the free version of ChatGPT. There were some really helpful moments throughout the week, as I've already mentioned in the video, that I think it was really nice to be able to have someone, a robot, be giving me those reminders and keeping me motivated, especially at times where I was constantly feeling like I wasn't getting anything done. So all that to say, would I say that ChatGPT completely transformed my life over the last 5 days? No. Will I continue to use this and the prompts that I was experimenting with as I move into the new year and start to get back into my regular routine? Absolutely. I'm sure that I'm underutilizing it. So again, please let me know if you have tips, suggestions, comments, concerns. Thank you so much for being here. I will pop the rest of the Coachmas playlist up on the screen. Take care, comb your hair, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!